Well, hello, this is Dr. Chris Lemmon again, and this is my introductory chat to the December blog. I'm going to promise to try to keep it a little shorter. I got a little overwhelmed, I think, in November blog and actually talked way too long. So, if that's upsetting to you, I apologize. If it's not upsetting to you, listen to it twice. So I'm calling the December blog end of cycle, and I'm calling it that for a particular reason. Where we, which means that if you listen to it, we, right, that's the plural I, just means that we engaged in the process of determining that of all the variables, what we should start to do with all the changes that's occurring in the world is start to expand range a little bit. It's a little deceptive when I say expand range, because it's not so much that we expand that out. That's kind of like the new age people saying, oh, I'm going to expand consciousness. Like, come on. Many years ago, George A. Miller wrote a little paper called 7 ± 2, and that's the level of consciousness and lots of research behind it. I'm probably, if there did a research today, it would be smaller than 7, right? Even squirrels have anyway, have a consciousness of somewhere being able to play in that arena too. So it's kind of scary. So we're probably not going to expand range to the place where we're just unconscious. But we're probably going to do is start to create more ranges, something more suitable for what's going to occur. So doing that is what we call a cycle out of one into another. So we recognize it's like nowhere to go in this cycle. We step out of that and step into the next one. Right? And then nowhere to go that one, we step out of that one. We eventually have a repertoire of cycles that's just a box full of ranges that we can kind of plug in and utilize, right, as a tool, right? So that's the goal, and that's why I called it end of cycle. Played a little bit off of the traditional model, which end of year, New Year's, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure all that stuff is going to be that way in a few years, because as a global thinking, New Year's is not New Year's January 1st for all the countries in the world. So I don't know what New Year's is going to be for a global mentality, maybe in 100 years from now. So it'll be interesting for you guys to see. I doubt I'm going to be around, but most certainly it'll be interesting to see. So what do we do? What do we got with the nature of ranges? What we do within a range is, I'm saying that the goal is to be somewhere in the center of the range, so we can start to notice which way we have room to move, right? If we get into a particular pole on a range, we then have a bias. We look at it from a certain viewpoint. So we really don't have anywhere to go. We're backs to the wall, and we simply have expressed, well, that wasn't right, whatever. We just blow up. We just have a reaction, right? That's what sits there. If we're in the center, we can look at it and say, well, I don't know if I'm participating in that, but I see what you're doing. It's like, okay, it's like, yeah, okay, fine. Those are what we call the ability to flex or make decisions or come into play, right? What happens in the human package, which is really quite interesting, is that we have an event that occurs. Maybe you're walking down the street, you bump into somebody. Maybe you're spy an old friend that waves at you and you're looking at them and you're thinking, I know them, don't I? I'm not sure, right? Whatever occurs, an event occurs, right? Some experience in life occurs. It's a little package. And so you're sitting in a range and you don't see them in that range. Maybe they all of a sudden, you find that you react in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you say to a friend of yours, look at that idiot waving at me. Who the heck's he? Or maybe you just smack into someone and then get mad at them and blow up. All those responses, where does that come from? It's not within that range you're in right then. It's from a range from memory. What this piece of device does, this human body, this mechanism, if you have a situation, it'll say, oh, that's like, and it'll take you back to a previous experience, 20, 40, 50 years ago. And you then react from that previous experience. No assessment of what's going on now, total reaction. I'm sure you sat down and think, wow, I overreacted, or I shouldn't have done that. Or maybe your friends remind you that you were being an idiot and you shouldn't have done that. Whatever it was, you were sitting there and you had this massive reaction. So that's not the element of range that I'm talking about. Range I'm talking about is being able to be right here. Come on, they used to teach this as what present time or being in a now, or everybody out there's got some term for this. It just means don't go back to that range from the past. It doesn't burn your calories. It's automatic. That means you have to be disciplined. I know that's a nasty word. People don't like that. You have to take a breath and you have to say, whoa. And the first thing you have to do is pay attention. Number 2, you have to pay attention. Number 3, you have to pay attention. Number 4, you have to pay attention. Number 5, you have to pay attention. That's discipline. Pay attention. Attend to what's going on right now. If you continue to attend for 30 seconds, 30 to 40 seconds, you have now shut that automatic switch off that takes you back to that previous range. And you get to be right here in the now. And you go, wow, I didn't recognize you. I saw you waving at me and I thought, who's that fool? And then all of a sudden I go, oh, I remembered you. I'm sorry, I'm getting old. You see how all of a sudden that allows for relationship to open up, for communication to open up, for questions to start to flow. How you been? What have you been up to? I haven't seen you in years. This person out there waving at me, or I don't know who was not paying attention. I was talking to my friends. You were looking at your phone. We smacked into each other. I'm sorry. I should have been paying attention. They're going to be apologizing. And now you just made a friend. You've got communication opening up. As communications open up, you've all of a sudden repositioned yourself in the center of that range. You're allowing them to reposition themselves. You're now establishing communication. You have a respect and acknowledgement for another person. What is wrong with all that? We don't see very much of that today. We really need to learn all that stuff again. So this is our goal in playing with ranges. We got to get back into, we used to do things in traditional because there was some rule or right and wrong and whatever. And we started making all kinds of stories to dance around that, right? And so now we box ourselves in to where we have so many excuses not to be nice or pleasant or all the above, that we really need to not go back to the way that was. We need to explore the potential. Totally different. If background has doubled down, it has more pieces. Ranges are going to have to double down and have more pieces. It's going to be there. You have to search and find them. So it just means you have to pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Take a breath, ask a question. And then all of a sudden, start to look at opportunity to make a decision for the moment. Decision for the moment is to secure the range, start to recognize an event occurred, and you were in the event, and you get to decide how you're going to live that event in the moment now. Isn't that kind of cool? That's our goal. So that's my wish to you for those who somehow or another honor end of year, whatever you do, fine with me. I just, at my age, it's another passing of another time space, right? I'm not much of a holiday person, but most certainly I want to acknowledge that because I have certain views doesn't make you right or wrong, doesn't make me right or wrong. It just makes a decision and a preference. You get this? Decision and a preference. We don't have to judge someone. We don't have to do any of the above. We just go, wow, look what they do. Look what I do. Look what they do. Look what I do. Look what they do. Look what I do. And it's fun. All of a sudden we can start to get along. So this is us building a global base, a global mindset. Not everybody has New Year's in January 1. As a matter of fact, most of the population on the planet doesn't, right? So kind of get a grip here. We're going to open up a little bit. We're going to have more friends, more interaction, lots more ranges, double down. And this is what we get to do. So thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to talking to you next year.